There are a lot of new rule changes. They're going to have a big impact on the game. Everyone will talk about the clock. No 5-second closely guarded is a huge one. You're going to have extended dribbles. And what does that mean? With defense, how you run an offense, the personnel that you might use. You've got to take a good look at that. I think that'll have a big impact on the game. In fact, I know it'll have a big impact on it. Another thing, which it's a very subtle difference, but in the post, you can use an arm bar. You can't extend it, you never were able to do that. But an arm bar, you could have it on when he didn't have the ball. Now you can have an arm bar when the player has the ball. That's a big thing. Now a defender inside can maintain good balance. Pretty big rule, pretty big interpretation. I think it's good. I think it's more what you do internationally in the NBA. Everyone's in fairly healthy. Obi had been out for a while. He's now practiced. The only kid that's been out the whole time is Brankovic first. He had a stress reaction earlier in the month of September, and so he's close to being able to practice. The other guys are in pretty good shape. Grayson had not played for about 3 weeks because he had an annoying hamstring during September, so we just shut him down. So he's only been practicing since the start of practice. Starting lineups and that, we're not ready to say anything about them. Right now we have 8 guys who can play, and then Obi could be a ninth, for situational stuff. Ingram will be all over. He's that good of a player. Brandon's gained 23 pounds since July 1st here. He's worked very, very hard. No, that he's going to be one of the better players. I think that's reasonable. He wasn't a kid that averaged 4 points a game in practice. In other words, he had a really good ego throughout, and he kept building. And for the Wake Forest game here, the last game of the regular season, I think he had 27. His confidence and the momentum of accomplishment kind of stopped there, which is a good place to stop and winning the national championship. But I think that's just kept going. You have to build the team chemistry with the group you have. I do think that the freshmen, especially Tyus, John, and Justice, were a little bit ahead in the maturity of the game. I'm not saying their individual maturity, because of having been in at least 2 USA teams. And so they matured more in the game because they got to know when they weren't the star, they did start, they didn't start, they weren't the leading scorer. They're things that you would never learn in high school because you're always the best player. These guys have some experience in that, but they're a little bit younger in that regard. These guys are talented, though. Our freshmen are talented. But for the guys coming back, they have to adjust to a different level of expectation. And they have to play more good minutes in a game, and then they have to play game after game well, instead of, boy, he did this in that game, and he did this during that week. No, you got to do it all the time. They get along well. We tell them, and not that they haven't done this, but get beyond you. Get beyond you. Don't think about where you're at. Think about where we're at. In other words, throw yourself into the world, not singular. I think Matt Jones is a very, very important guy for our team. And, he has a level of maturity that is beyond his years. And then Marshall, being a graduate student, I think can help a lot. And Marshall's 23, and Marshall had an incredible summer where Army officer training at Fort Knox for 5 weeks, and the situations that he was placed in, and the growth that he has as a leader, I think is shown up here. He's done a really good job.